Okay, welcome everyone to Happy Hour with AmaWaterways. As I was saying, my name is Carol Ricks. I'm a full-service travel advisor with Cruise Planners. I'm a happy owner of a franchise with Cruise Planners. I absolutely love my job. I love helping my clients plan their vacation, whether it's cruising the rivers of Europe or taking their family on an ocean cruise or visiting Israel. I've been able to send clients all around the world, and I absolutely love it. Like I said, as I've worked with vendors, I've quickly found that AmaWaterways is my absolute favorite. They just celebrated 18 years in the business. They are a pioneer in river cruising. They're a leader in the industry. And I truly believe that they offer an incredible experience for their guests as they're traveling to some of the world's most enchanted cities via some of the most beautiful rivers. I think one of my favorite things about AmaWaterways is their commitment to a very personal and a positive experience for their guests that they will have that will turn into one of the most cherished memories of their lifetime. I'm excited to have Brandon Oscarson with AmaWaterways here with us. I thought it would be great to host an event and invite him to come and speak to us and share all the many ways that make AmaWaterways so incredible, whether it's their locally sourced food to their incredible ships and their amazing itineraries. So thank you for joining us. Thank you, Brandon, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. And you know what, you're right. It's those little attentions that make to detail that make it a really personal experience. And you really do come away feeling like you're part of that AMA family. And for those of you who are wondering what AMA means, and I hear this all the time, is it AmaWaterways. It's actually,
Right.
And that's derived from the Latin word amare, which is Latin for love. And it really does tell you how we operate. And once you cruise with us, you do get that amazing feeling. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in and get started. It looks like we have some other people who may be joining us along the way. So if you see me kind of look off to the side and pause for a moment, that just means I'm letting them into the meeting with us.
Thank you.
So, of course. So as I do this, go through these different slides, you'll hear me use the word unique quite often. AmaWaterways does a lot in this industry to set themselves apart on very, very high levels. And one of those ways actually begins with your cruise managers, the people we're looking at right here on your screen. Now, when you take a river cruise, you typically tie it in with some sort of land package. Take my Romantic Danube. On a Romantic Danube, you're going to do 3 nights in Prague at a hotel, and then you're going to take your 7-night cruise from Wilshofen, Germany, down into Budapest. With AmaWaterways, your cruise manager is your very first point of contact, meaning when you arrive at the hotel in Prague, they're going to be sitting there at a welcome desk to greet you. So your first person you're going to meet from AMA is your cruise manager. From there, they'll be at that desk every day. One, they'll take you on a city tour, but more importantly, they want to make sure you get the best out of your time while you're in Prague. You can make the most out of it. So they're going to tell you the best places to go and eat and places to explore while you're in Prague. Now, the reason this is unique, everybody in this industry typically has a cruise manager on the cruise only and a separate tour guide on the land. Well, with AmaWaterways, this cruise manager is on the cruise and land. And usually as you're getting off the ship to fly home or move on to your next destination, they're typically the last person to bid you farewell. Actually, especially if you're the person who's on the 6 a.m. flight to head home and you're leaving the ship at 2, 3 in the morning, they're definitely the last person to bid you farewell. All right, here we have a map of all of the destinations that we cruise around the world. As you can see, our focus is primarily in Europe. We also cruise the Mekong Delta through Vietnam and Cambodia. We cruise the Chobe River in Africa. We also are going to start sailing the Nile River in Egypt September of next year. I'll tell you that right now, that is one of the hottest things we have in the river cruise industry right now. And to just give you an idea, my Egypt product is at over 60% occupancy for 2021. So if it's something you're interested in, definitely something you want to move on quickly because it will sell out. So here we're looking at a list of all of the ships that we have in Europe. And one of the things I want to share, especially during these uncertain times, is the certainty of AmaWaterways. We are a debt-free company. We have paid cash for every one of our ships, so we own them outright before they even hit the waters. So we're in a very strong financial position. Above and beyond that, actually in 2018, Europe had some very low water levels, and the president of our company, he decided that, you know what, let's just save some money for a rainy day. What if something happened and we had to come off the waters for a year? Now, who would have thought that this actually was going to happen? But he wanted to be prepared just in case. So we saved to get off of the waters for a year if we needed to. You never know what's going to happen. So again, we're in a really good place. And if you're thinking about going on a river cruise, but you're kind of hesitant to book something because you don't know if we'll be around, we are absolutely going to be around. All right, talking a little more about COVID-19. We are in a really amazing place right now with this because we are the only US-based river cruise company that has a ship in operation in Europe. So while all of our other friends on the rivers with us are planning what they're going to do when they're able to sail again, we've already implemented all of our new protocols to make sure that our guests are safe on board. So when I say we're cruising in Europe, we're only on the Rhine River. It's our Ama Christina, and we are catering to the German, Swiss, and Austrian market because it's safe for them to travel within those countries. So some of the things that we've done to make our guests feel more comfortable on board, obviously our staff and crew, they're going to be wearing masks. Now, our guests will have to wear masks also, but that's just when you leave your room to go from your room to maybe the dining area or the lounge. But as soon as you get to the dining area lounge, wherever you happen to go, you can take your mask off. The only reason we want you to wear it is because the hallways are narrow and you're definitely going to pass a few people. But our lounge, we've actually put plexiglass in between our couches that back up to each other so that you have that barrier there. We have spread things out because we can only have a maximum of 100 guests on board right now. This is mandated by the EU. So we have less people on board, so we don't have to, we have things set up a little bit differently. For dining, the dining room is also spread out. And on top of that, we're using our chef's table for breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that guests can spread out a little more. We don't typically offer room service, but right now, we are fully staffed on board the Ama Christina, and we don't have as many guests as we normally have. Again, we can only put 100 people on board, so we are offering room service. The last thing I'll mention that I thought was really neat, I just learned about this. So our heating and cooling system, every room, every stateroom has its own individual heating and cooling coil system. All of the air on the ship comes fresh from outside. It is never recirculated through the ship. So again, you can rest assured when you're ready to travel with us that we have all of the right protocols in place and that you're going to be safe while you're traveling with us. If you want more information, again, there's a link down there at the bottom of that image, amawaterways.com/protocols. You can also go onto YouTube and look up AmaWaterways, and we just released a video with some of our German and Austrian guests talking about their experience with these new protocols in place. So I had mentioned the president of our company, Rudy Schreiner. He is considered by everybody in the entire industry to be the innovator of river cruising. They actually call him the godfather of river cruising, and he's been doing this for a long time. He grew up along the Danube in Vienna, and he's an architect by so he's always had a passion for the rivers, but he also is very motivated to help us design our vessels. He actually has his hand in designing all of them. That sketch you're looking at there is something he drew on a napkin when he was out to dinner one night. I worked in our corporate office for a few years. I've gone out to eat with Rudy many times. The first time I saw this, I kind of laughed. I was like, beer 3 or 4. Well, I was corrected. It was a wine, it was a wine event. And he had a couple of glasses of wine. He said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put less people on the ships. I'm going to make the staterooms bigger, balconies and French balconies combined together. And he brought it all to fruition. His newest innovation just hit the waters last year. It's our Ama Magna. Now, the Ama Magna is a very special and unique ship. It is double the width, but we did not double the occupancy. We only added 40 guests. So all of this extra space has gone into our staterooms, our amenities. We have 4 separate dining venues on board the Ama Magna. Staterooms average 355 square feet. An entry-level stateroom is 205 square feet. And actually, we have an owner suite that is 710 square feet. Our thought behind this was, you know, there's a lot of ocean cruisers who are reluctant to river cruise because amenities on board and the size of the staterooms. Well, the Ama Magna really checks all of those boxes. And I've been so fortunate. I was able to cruise on it in October of last year and again in January of this year. And I will tell you, it is the creme de la creme of river cruising. It is truly a special ship. Now, moving on to our twin balcony stateroom vessels. What we're looking at here is one of our entry-level staterooms. This would be a category D or E, 160 square feet, and you have those picture windows up at the top of the stateroom that span all the way across. You actually do get nice views from inside of the cabin right there. I like to call them our swan view. I have heard people refer to them as the Jacques Cousteau experience, but that would not be accurate. Those windows never make it underwater.
No.
They definitely do not. In here I have one of my French balcony staterooms. This is probably one of the most popular categories we have. It's 170 square feet. I know that looks like it's just a window right there, but those are sliding glass doors, floor to ceiling. They open up the span of the stateroom. It's actually rails you're looking at right there. So you can get fresh air in your stateroom. And we put a table and a couple of chairs there so you can get the feeling like you're sitting outside. Now, as I start to go through these slides, you're going to see the decor vary slightly, but the one thing that is common, we use very warm and inviting colors. So I've intentionally selected images from different ships that we have sailing throughout Europe. When I say we have a twin balcony stateroom, this is a twin balcony stateroom. On your right-hand side, we're looking at a French balcony area. On the left-hand side, you have your own private veranda. Now, categories AA and AB are 235 square feet. And in that French balcony area, we can put a twin-size sofa bed in there, something unique to AmaWaterways. We can accommodate triples. Now, river cruising is intimate. We like to keep it that way, so we will never put more than 4 triples per sailing on board one of our dates. Here we have one of our suites, and yes, that does say we can accommodate quads. We are partnered with Adventures by Disney. They will put a family of 4 into these staterooms. We will never put more than 3 people in there. Again, we have different things that we do than Adventures by Disney. Now, you would never go on a Disney cruise unless you very specifically booked Adventures by Disney. They charter the entire ship, so it would be an Adventures by Disney cruise. Another request by Disney was connecting staterooms. This is unique to AmaWaterways. Nobody else has connecting staterooms. Now, when I first saw that we were doing this and that Disney had requested this for families, this was when I worked back in reservations. And I kind of laughed because I thought, wow, families usually want to be on the opposite side of the ship from one another. And Disney wants them all to be together. But I get it. It makes sense. Yeah. Now, where it works really well for us, we have a lot of friends who like to travel together, and I oftentimes will see that they book the staterooms with those connecting cabins so that they can maybe have their coffee together in the morning, or finish off a bottle of wine before they go to bed at night. Yeah. Now, in this industry, we do have the fastest Wi-Fi available. We're the only company that is invested in a 4G network, and there's a very good reason for that. We very quickly realized that once we had the 4G in place, yes, the towers are expensive to put on the ship, but what costs even more is running it annually. We spend more on Wi-Fi in Europe than we spend on fuel on all of our ships around the world. But we understand that majority of our guests have smartphones or tablets. When you go on your excursions, you come back to the ship, you have that connection. The first thing you want to do is share your experiences with your friends and family back home. So through Facebook, Instagram, email, whatever form that you're using to share that, you have quick access to do it right on board all of our vessels. Now, for our guests who still have flip phones, yep, we get a lot of guests with flip phones. We do have our entertainment on demand system. It's an iMac computer inside of everybody's stateroom. And if you're not familiar with the Mac, that's perfectly fine, because what you're looking at right here, this is your interface. You click on one button and you have access to TV shows. Then there's another button for movies, new released movies, or classic film selections. There's also a very wide array of music available, internet access, so that you can stay in touch with your friends and family back home. So this is where you're going to find everything that you would want to use inside of your stateroom for entertainment purposes. In the evenings, we do like to immerse our guests in the cultures of the places we're taking them through. And one of the best ways is through music. So we have local singers, dancers, and musicians that come on board and perform for our guests. Now, over the 18 years we've been in business, one thing that we have learned, people who travel are foodies and winos. So good food and good wine are imperative. You must. So we are second to nobody when it comes to our dining experience. And when I say that, it's from all of the ratings we receive. I will tell you where we receive our highest ratings. It's on the dining experience. We're members of La Chaîne de Rôtisseurs. They are the most prestigious culinary organization in the world, and membership is by invitation only. So meals on board are absolutely exquisite. And we do provide our guests with 2 separate dining venues. Up at the front of the ship, we have our main dining room. This is where you're going to have cuisine from the areas that you're cruising through for your lunch and dinner. Breakfast, you'll find, will be very standard breakfast options. At the aft of our ship, we have our specialty dining. This is complimentary. There's no additional charge for it. It's our chef's table. And now if you look here, you'll see that there's a glass partition between the kitchen and the dining room. So you can actually see your chefs preparing your meal. Now, this is a very special experience because you don't look at a menu here. This is a European style tasting. So once everybody is seated at your table, your server will bring out 3 small hors d'oeuvres. From there, we move on to champagne with sorbet soaking in it. After that, you'll have 2 small entrees, and we finish with 2 to 3 small desserts. And these are all paired with 3 different wines throughout the evening. I'll tell you that most people who go on a cruise with us, this is their favorite meal of the entire cruise. It's really amazing. Now, it's a set menu. It doesn't change from the first to the last day. The only variances might be some of the produce. And the reason that is, each day, the chefs who work the chef's table go into town and buy the local produce right there. So if you love to cook, or you love to shop and this is something you enjoy, you can actually ask your cruise manager, hey, can I go into town with the chef and see where they get the produce? They love having our guests do that, and people do it on occasion. All right, we do serve complimentary, free-flowing soda, beer, and wine with your lunch and dinner. Again, to bring that cultural immersion on board, the wines that we serve come from the regions that we cruise through. So sometimes the wines you have for lunch could be totally different from the wines that you're having for dinner, again, because we're bringing it from the regions that we're taking you through. For our guests who would like to start early, we have complimentary sparkling wine or champagne for breakfast, complimentary juices that go with that as well. 24/7, you'll have access to complimentary coffee, specialty coffee drinks, tea. We replenish bottled water to your room as often as you would like. When you're getting off of the ship to go on an excursion, we're going to give you a bottle of water. When you're coming back onto the ship from your excursions, we'll give you a hot or cold drink, just depending on what the weather is like outside. Now, talking about bottled water brings me to something I'm really proud of. AmaWaterways, back in June, our entire European fleet received a Green Award. Now, we are the only river cruise line to receive a Green Award, and it's because we are doing things to be more sustainable on the rivers and more sustainable to the planet. When I talk about a bottled water in your room, we are now providing glass bottles of water in your stateroom. when you're getting off the ship to go on your excursions, we're going to give you a box of water. I know that sounds kind of weird, and what may sound weirder, I'm a little bit of a water snob. I don't like certain waters. I love the box water. It's fantastic. On top of that, we have LED lighting throughout our entire vessel. When you walk into your stateroom, you'll see a little iPad mounted onto the wall. It has controls to automatic mood light settings or just little sliders so that you can adjust the lighting the way you would like it. On top of that, there's another separate iPad right next to the bed. So when you go to bed at night and you want to turn the lights off, you pick it up, you hit a button. You want to change your AC settings, you pick it up and you can adjust it right there. So little things like this end up making big differences, but we're very proud to, again, be more sustainable in an industry that is growing significantly. Before dinner every evening, we do have a complimentary cocktail hour. We call this our Sip and Sell. This is an amazing opportunity for our guests to come up into the lounge, get to know the other guests on board. It's also an amazing opportunity for our cruise manager to take maybe 10, 15 minutes and give you an idea of what's in store for the next day. They usually do a cruise update. So before you go on your cruise, you will receive a detailed itinerary. I've always tried to encourage people not to plan too much because there's so many options available. And when your cruise manager tells you what's in store for the next day, you're probably going to change your mind maybe a couple of times along the cruise. So for our guests who have dietary restrictions, we can accommodate anything because meals are prepared to order. So gluten-free, dairy-free, low sodium, any sort of allergy, I have heard it all. I met a woman with 33 food allergies who now only travels with us because not only is her food safe, but she knows that it's going to be delicious every single time. Something else really neat that we do, we have a detox water of the day. We keep it up on the corner of the bar for our guests. It's just water infused with fruits, minerals, and herbs. And it really helps support your immune system. You got to think when you're going over to Europe from here, you're a little bit jet lagged. You're going on a lot of excursions, maybe having a couple more drinks than normal. These little things can make big differences. I know I'm actually a certified health coach. I will attest. This does help. So help yourself to it. It's really neat. Wellness is a big part of traveling with AmaWaterways also. Well, here is where I make a comparison to one of our competitors. To be professional, I won't say their name, but it rhymes with schmiking. I'm sure you can figure out exactly who I'm talking about. And the only reason I use them as a comparison, the number one question I am asked on a regular basis, what's the difference between you and them? So just some very, very simple statistics. Our ships are the exact same size as a longship. They are now putting 196 guests on board. We are putting 156 guests on board. So with us, you're going to find larger staterooms on average. You're going to have more amenities, many more amenities. But most importantly, just my personal opinion, it's your common area space. Because when you're not on an excursion or you're not dining, you're really not hanging out in your stateroom. You're going to your cruise manager meetings, your evening entertainment, your cocktail hour. So with us, every guest has one of these nice comfortable couches, chairs, even these nice plush bar stools to sit and relax on. It is never standing room only. We've even gone as far as to add libraries on all of our ships. From 2010 to now, you'll find libraries on all of our ships. Now, I'll tell you a funny story about the library. If you look at the back there where that mesh is, that's the lounge. So we used to keep board games in the library. One night we had an opera singer performing in the lounge and a very heated game of Yahtzee in the library. The next day, all of our ships lost their board games. I think we have chess, checkers, maybe some cards in there for you, but it's really a quiet space. Now, when I say we have more amenities, we truly have amenities that nobody else will put on their ships. And the reason is when you take up space on a vessel to create these places for amenities, you're taking away from places you can put people to bed at night. So with AmaWaterways, we have a wonderful fitness center, state-of-the-art cardio equipment. And I know you can't see it, but in the back corner, there's a cable resistance training system. So if you like to keep up with the regiment and exercise while you travel, you can do everything you would like to do on board with us. We have spa services. You can get a nice massage while you're cruising with us. We even have a salon on board all of our ships. All of them have salons on board. And up on the sun deck, again, something unique to us, we have a pool. The pool is heated, so we even bring it up to 104, 105 degrees during our Christmas market cruises, granted that it's not snowing or raining, so that our guests can use them year round. Now this is really neat. We have a wellness program that we've been running. This would have been year number 3. Unfortunately, we're not sailing right now. But what's really neat about this wellness program, we have a wellness coach on all of our ships. And in the morning at 7 a.m. and 7:30, they have classes, yoga, resistant band training, some core training, Tai Chi. They all bring some different elements to the table. And what I love about this, I'm a little bit of a fitness nut. I enjoy taking the classes, but for me, there's a little bit of humor because I always meet people who are like, I'm on vacation. You're not going to get me up at 7 a.m. or 7:30 to work out because I'm here to relax and do my thing. Those very same people hear this announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the lounge tomorrow morning at 7:30 for champagne yoga. It would blow your mind to see how many people show up for champagne yoga. Even the people who didn't want to get up to work out will show up for champagne yoga. Now, I will tell you, champagne yoga at 7:30 usually means nap time around 10, 10:30. Now, another area where we set ourselves apart on a very high level, it's going to be our shore excursions. We have more included excursions than anybody else in the industry. We have more than 23 included excursions per 7-night sailing. And the way that we're able to do this, every single port we stop at, you have your included city tour. Your city tour will provide you with 3 levels of activity. We have gentle walkers, a couple of regular pace walkers, and then we have our active walkers. Now, our active walkers, they're not moving faster, but they're taking on more challenging tasks. And to give you an idea of one of our active walking tours, right here we're looking at the city of Dürnstein. That hill in the back at the top, those are the ruins of the Burgoyne Castle. This is where King Richard the Lionheart was held captive during his crusades. Our active walkers will take those stairs. I know you can kind of see them a little bit. They go up the hill there. You can walk up those stairs and go and explore the ruins. Now, if you don't want to do the active tour, I'll tell you, I'm going to talk about the Danube here in a little bit. Dürnstein is one of the stops along the way. You can take the active tour, or you can walk into town. They have wonderful apricot liqueurs, a great wine tour here. The city tour is, it's a small town. You get a lot of time to explore and shop. It is a beautiful city. Something else we do, we have 25 bikes per European vessel. So we have complimentary guided bike tours. Now, if you don't want to go on a bike tour, you don't have to. You can just grab a bike and stroll into town on your own. But if you want to take a bike tour, we have a tour guide at the front of the group and the back of the group. And the reason we do that, we do have avid bikers who love to cruise with us. We also have people who were avid bikers 20, 30 years ago. And they love to go on these bike tours with us, even if they haven't been on a bike in 20 or 30 years. So we make sure we have somebody there to take care of them the entire time. So I'm going to circle back to more included excursions and the way that we're able to do this. I'm going to talk about Vienna for a moment. So in Vienna, when you wake up in the morning, you have a lot of choices for your tour. You can take your city tour, choose your level of activity, or maybe you've been to Vienna before. You would like to do something different. You can go on the back alleys of Vienna. It's included. Or a wine tasting, or art tour, or culinary excursion. Everything is included. You just have to choose which one you would like to go on. So the nice thing about that, we do have a lot of people who cruise with us who have been to some of these places before, and it gives them opportunities to go to the same place and have unique experiences. But also it keeps our groups very small. I'm talking anywhere from 10 to 25 people at the most per group. So if you want that personal interaction with your tour guide, you can have that. Something we are known for, and again, it's unique to AmaWaterways, we do wine-themed cruises. So what we do is we'll bring a wine host, a winemaker, or a wine expert from right here in the States over to Europe with us. They're actually going to bring their own wines on board the ship. So they'll do tastings, pairings, and lectures on board in between your tours and meal times. Now, these winemakers typically choose a river with us where they were inspired by the wines in those regions. So they're also experts in those wines. So we'll take you to some vineyards. And we also go to private cellars, places that you could not book a tour to. But since we do these wine-themed cruises, we can get you in there, and the wine host will do tastings and pairings there as well. All right, now Carol had asked me to talk about our Ama Magna on the Danube. And for June 23rd, we have an amazing promotion in place. Actually, there's more dates than this, but June 23rd, we have the free companion air from select gateways. And Carol, you said that Cruise Planners also has group amenities in place on this date as well, correct?
Yes, we do. We have a home office group. It's an American Express. We're an American Express travel company. So we have an American Express group with it. So the benefits of that give you, you know, the better pricing. You'll get better pricing. As Brandon mentioned, it comes with the free companion air, and you also get prepaid gratuities for the first and second guest.
Fantastic. Excellent. And I'm going to take a little time to talk about the Danube. I've been so fortunate. I've been with AmaWaterways for 8 years, and I went on my 11th cruise in January. Don't feel sorry for me. I enjoy it. I love it. And I've been on the Danube a few times. It is fantastic. So as I'd mentioned, the Danube usually starts or ends with pre or post in Prague. I'll tell you, if you're going to do the Danube and you have not been to Prague, it is one of the most beautiful cities in all of Europe. They call it the Paris of Eastern Europe. Now, what makes it so beautiful and unique, during World War II, it was untouched. So I want to say everything is in its original state, but with the fall of communism, they took every one of the buildings and they painted them pastel colors to bring color and life and happiness to the city. But it is an absolutely stunningly beautiful city. Now, one of the things I like about starting in Prague is it's kind of a sleepy city, meaning that people don't wake up too early in the morning. And I'm a photographer. All these pictures we're looking at are pictures that I've taken. As a matter of fact, a lot that you're going to see along the way are mine. I like to get up when there aren't a lot of people so that I can go and explore these places and get these beautiful pictures. Down on the bottom right-hand side, that's Charles Bridge. During the daytime, it is packed with people getting pictures with the statues and off of the bridge, and it's a beautiful destination. Now, one of the cool things in the morning on Charles Bridge, there's really nobody out there, but when we were there, it was July, and there were some Asian brides in their dresses that I'm sure were thousands and thousands of dollars, with professional photographers and lighting and all of these get-ups right on the bridge. And my wife and I really enjoyed experiencing that and seeing them out there getting their stunning pictures in Prague. Another stop along the way. So we board in a small town called Wilshofen, Germany. This is Wilshofen right behind me. It's interesting because Rudy Schreiner went to Wilshofen, and it was not a place that anybody used for porting or picking up guests. And he said to the mayor, hey, you know, we want to bring tourism into Wilshofen. Can you do some neat stuff for us? So we have a beer fest at every embarkation, disembarkation out of Wilshofen. It's a really neat little Bavarian town. But from there, the next big stop along the way, we're going to stop in a town called Salzburg. And from Salzburg, you can take a full-day trip, Linz, you can take a full-day trip to Salzburg or a half-day trip to Salzburg. I would strongly encourage you to take the full-day trip to Salzburg, because once you get there, you're going to wish you had been there all day long. Now, Salzburg is the birthplace of Mozart. Most people know it for The Sound of Music. It's where The Sound of Music was filmed. So it's a very rich part of the history of Salzburg. And yes, we will take you to where The Sound of Music was filmed. Yes, you will see where Mozart was born. And you have to come back with a bottle of Mozart chocolate liqueur. It is absolutely fantastic. I love to pour it in my coffee. I love to pour it on my ice cream. I like to pour it right into my mouth. It is wonderful stuff. And this is the only place I know you can actually find it. When your tour here is done, if you take the full day, you have so much time to go and explore up at the top of the hill. So that giant ball on the left, you go to the left of that and up the hill a little ways, and the very first independently owned brewery is right there in Salzburg. It's the first one in Austria. And it's a wonderful restaurant. If you're not a beer drinker, it's totally fine. They have wonderful local dishes that you can try there. The next big stop along the way is Vienna. And I will tell you, this is one of the most picturesque places you're going to visit. Absolutely beautiful. And it's a foodie's paradise, especially if you love coffee and pastries. And I gotta say, who doesn't love pastries? And I happen to be a coffee lover. You will find so many incredible and unique different types of coffee drinks here that I have traveled around the world and I've never seen anybody quite so creative with their coffee as they are here in Vienna. Now in Vienna, I had mentioned you have a lot of tours in the morning time. You go back to the ship, you have lunch, and after lunch, you've got a couple of things that you can do that are optional, meaning you would have to pay for them because for us, it's more of a concierge service to book you and take you on these trips. One would be the afternoon trip to the Schönbrunn Palace. This is where Marie Antoinette grew up. It is a wonderful trip. I would strongly recommend doing it. I've been there a couple of times, and each time it's spectacular. And when you're done with your tour, you can go out and explore the gardens. That picture on the bottom right, as you leave the Schönbrunn Palace and you look up to the back, that's where I'm looking right there. The next thing we do in Vienna, in the evening, we take you to a Mozart and Strauss concert. Now, I grew up on classical music. My grandma made sure that me and all of my cousins love Mozart first and foremost, but I've also been to symphonies all over the place. One of my clients once upon a time used to fill the seats at the Hollywood Bowl, so I got tickets on a regular basis. I have seen symphonies everywhere. I have never seen musicians as precise and talented as the ones in Vienna. So again, it's an optional tour, but I would strongly encourage you to take advantage of that because you're going to, I would say, the home of classical music, and it's spectacular. Bratislava is a hidden gem along the way. I don't know anybody who said, I can't wait to go visit Bratislava. And once they come out of there, they're like, oh my goodness, this was one of my favorite stops along the way. It is a melting pot of cultures. You can literally walk from the ship to the center of town in 5 minutes. You get a nice city tour, so they take you around and they teach you about the town, but then you get a lot of free time. If you like to come home with handcrafted gifts for your friends and family, or maybe souvenirs for yourself, you're going to find a lot of them there. A lot of local artists and people who do pottery, mugs, all kinds of stuff, create things, and they'll take them to the local shops in town. And you can tell that they are truly handcrafted. Now I'm going to point out a couple of things that are fun about Bratislava. Down on the bottom in the middle, that is a statue they call the Peeping Tom. Now it's a worker sticking his head out of a manhole, but they're like, if he's got his head down like this and he's looking up with that big smile, he's up to no good. But they consider him to be good luck. If you notice, you'll see his body is very brassy, but as you get up onto his hard hat, it gets really polished and shiny. And that's because it's good luck to rub the top of his hard hat. So I dare you not to come back with not having a selfie with them. You'll probably come back with one. Yeah. You just don't have mine we're looking at right now. Now, one of the other really neat things about Bratislava, that it's actually more funny than it is neat. The picture on the right-hand side, you see the red arrow pointing at the circle in the wall? That is a cannonball in the wall. Now, during World War II, if any of the buildings were hit with shrapnel or they could prove that they were damaged during the war, the government would give them money to repair their buildings. So the locals would go out and find cannonballs and lodge them into the side of their building and go to the government and say, please give me my money to repair my building. And they just left them there because their buildings weren't really damaged. So as you walk around town, I'll tell you, it's something to keep your eye out for and look for, because you'll see a few buildings that still have the cannonballs lodged into the side.
That's crazy.
Now, Budapest is a stunning place along the way, and I will tell you that, you should spend at least a couple of days after the cruise here, because once you've gone into Budapest, you're going to realize you didn't get enough Budapest. Another melting pot of cultures. I will say, for me, it was the most picturesque place that I have seen along the Danube. I am also a foodie. I love Hungarian goulash, and something neat that I'll share with you. On the bottom left-hand side, we had gone to the main shopping center in Budapest. And I went upstairs to get some Hungarian goulash, and I saw on the table outside of the restaurant that they had put their recipe right on the table. So I took a picture of it and I brought it home, and I've actually made it for my family a few times. But a couple of stops along the way, down on the bottom right, we're looking at Hero Square. We'll take you to visit Hero Square. Just above that, we have the Chain Bridge. You'll take a motor coach across the Chain Bridge and go and visit the grounds of the palace and Fisherman's Bastion. Now, over on the left-hand side of the top, that is the Parliament. From Fisherman's Bastion, you have a beautiful view of the Parliament. Now, something that we're not allowed to do anymore, it's the illumination cruise at night in Budapest, because a couple of years ago, a bigger ship hit a smaller ship somewhere and it sank. So we're considered to be a bigger vessel. We're not allowed to move at night unless we're repositioning. So when I was in Budapest back in October, I boarded the ship down away from the hotel, maybe like 3 or 4 miles. But after everybody was on board and it was dark, the captain was like, it's time to reposition the ship. Everybody go up to the sun deck, because Budapest is beautifully illuminated in the evenings. I don't tell you everything about the river. I don't go into every single stop because I don't like to tell you the whole story. I like to leave a little bit for your trip. I do like to point out some of the highlights. Those are some of the places that really are the big highlights of the trip, but there's so many hidden gems along the way. I would take the Danube. It's going to hook you in river cruising, and you're going to want to do more and more. Now, outside of Europe, AmaWaterways does have a few exotic destinations. This happens to be my favorite trip I've ever been on with AmaWaterways. I've done it a couple of times. Vietnam, Cambodia, and the riches of the Mekong. The whole trip is 15 nights. You can break it into segments, so if you can't do the 15 nights, but I would tell anyone going to this part of the world, make sure that you take time to visit Siem Reap. Siem Reap is one of the peak highlights on this trip. To summarize the itinerary, we do 2 nights in Hanoi. From there, we spend 1 evening out on Ha Long Bay in a luxury junk. Ha Long Bay, one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. From there, we're going to fly down to Siem Reap, do 3 nights there, and we're going to go and explore the temples. Angkor Wat on the upper right-hand side there, the largest religious monument in the world, built in the 12th century, a stunning UNESCO World Heritage Site that you'll get to see sunrise at. And it's worth getting up early to go and see the sunrise there. From there, we take your 7-night cruise, and then we finish off with 2 nights in Ho Chi Minh City, formerly Saigon. Now, we are the only company that combines safaris with a river cruise option in Europe. We're cruising on the Chobe River, which is in Namibia. We're on the Zambezi Queen, and there are no ports here. So we're really looking to cruise and get you close to the animals. So we're going about a 22-mile radius to get you close to the animals for those amazing photography opportunities. Now, when I say that there's 5 safari options, the cruise portion is only 4 nights here, but the trips range from 9 to 16 nights. And if you want, we even have a post extension in Rwanda that you can tack on that's an additional 3 nights. I am extremely excited for this one. I cannot wait for September of next. You know, I just can't wait for next year. Is everyone else there with me? Yes, I think so. I am so excited about this. We're going to cruise the Nile River. It'll be our Secrets of Egypt in the Nile. This is going to be an 11-night itinerary. It is not just a 7-night cruise. When you book this, you will do 3 nights in Cairo, your 7-night cruise, and then we finish with 1 night in Cairo because there is so much to see and do here. Now, on top of that, we have a couple of pre-options. We can either take you to Dubai for 3 nights, or you can go to Jordan for 4 nights. And in Jordan, we do 2 nights in Amman and 2 nights in Petra. Big bucket list for a lot of people. And then we do something really special and unique. We offer a 4-night post to Jerusalem. Now, Israel and Cambodia are my two favorite places I have ever been on this planet. The culture, the food, and all of the amazing things to see, the ancient architecture. It's interesting. You go to Europe and you see old, then you go to Jerusalem and you're like, oh, wow, now that's old. So with our trip to Jerusalem, we do 4 nights. You also get to go to the Dead Sea. So we're the only company that is part of a post package. We're taking our guests down to Mount Masada and the Dead Sea, and we'll even let you go out and float around in the Dead Sea, which if you're there, you have to try it. It is such a strange and amazing experience. And the only reason I say it's strange is all you have to do is lift 1 foot up a little bit and you're horizontal like that because it's so salty. And it feels like a soft water filter on steroids. And I will tell you, don't shave the day before.
It'll hurt.
Yes, it will. My wife and I learned the hard way. So when I say that we're the highest rated river cruise line in all of Europe, I really like to use Berlitz as a reference. The many years that I've been in this industry, I have learned that when you open up a publication and you see #1 river cruise line, that somebody has either paid to put it there or very clever marketing goes into place. With Berlitz, you cannot pay for a rating. You can't do anything to get a better rating other than do an amazing job. Now, Berlitz has released 3 editions, and each time 10 of our ships are the highest rated. And it's based in order on our food, service, and amenities. So it really shows you consistency in how we operate. And when I say that we're the highest rated river cruise line in all of Europe, we are truly the highest rated river cruise line in all of Europe. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to join me this evening. I do have some show specials in place. First, I'll mention that anybody who makes a booking by August 27th, I'm going to give you a 100 per person discount. And that's on top of any promotion that we have in place. Now, a very unique and special show offer I have in place, and it's only good for the people who are here right now this moment. We have a 2-for-1 cruise fare, good for either my Ama Sienna on our Tulip time, March 18th of next year, or on the Ama Viola doing our Melodies of the Danube for April 5th of next year. For category C, D, or higher, the promo code, Carol will have to remember this, 2-for-1-VCN. You have to ask for it to get it. Now, this is so unique. AmaWaterways doesn't typically do 2-for-1 offers. And again, this is good until the end of the month if you would like to book with us.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Great. And thank you for being part of Cruise Planners, because with Cruise Planners, you get a lot of extra amenities. You had mentioned those special programs in place. Now, again, yeah, you're going to have access to this. I'll send you the presentation. You can share it with your clients. But we have many dates for Cruise Planners where we have complimentary prepaid gratuities. And to just give you an idea, here's some of them right here. Now, that is my time. I have shared everything that I have for you. Does anybody have questions for me?
I have one.
Yes.
When would you say is the best time to go experience the Danube?
The most popular times to cruise in Europe on the rivers, it's May and September. And that's because you have the most moderate weather. Now in Arizona, moderate weather means something different, but you really do have extremely moderate weather there. And on top of that, kids are back in school, families aren't traveling together. So Europe is a lot quieter.
Yeah.
Now, I personally love going in October because then you really start to get the fall weather as well. So October is a great time to go. But if you guys don't have any more questions, I so appreciate you joining us this evening. Please be sure to reach out to Carol so that she can help you get booked, and have a beautiful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.